they feel that this adult who's in front of me, whom I'm supposed to call mom and dad, are really safe for me. They are not going to leave me.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome once again to our conversation.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, Pragya team, to have me today. And a big hello to all the parents, sorry, who are waiting, all the adoptive parents,
Yes.
all the children who are waiting to get adopted, and young and old adult adoptees. A big hello to all of you.
So, ma'am, as you know that we are here to discuss about the rise that we have seen in the last 2 years of children being returned after adoption, right? So maybe we'll start with the conversation with this word, this term dissolution has come up a lot,
Yeah.
especially with this article that came last week, right? So maybe if you can start with helping our audience understand what adoption dissolution means.
In very simple words, a dissolution is dissolving an adoption where parents and the child, for some reason, they are not in sync. In very simple words, and the child goes back to the son. Yes, the furor that happened a couple of days back, this news about this 4-year-old child. Yeah. And what actually got stuck in everyone's mind is bad behavior. Yeah. So I thought I'll just go a little light on that. Is that all right before we go to statistics? Yeah.
Please, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I just got a chance to go through few of the comments and few of everywhere. Now, I have personally, as a counselor, I have not got a chance to meet this couple. Neither have I met the child. But it's only this one piece of news that everyone is reacting to. So if you look at the dates there, the child is 2020 born. The child was abandoned in September 2022, which makes him 2 years.
Yes.
Assuming that he must have been with his birth family, we assume. Now, at the age of 2 years, 4 months, he comes to the institution, and he's in this institution till he's 3 years, 4 months old. We are talking of 1 full year where he was under care and protection. He was a ward of the state. My question would be, what was happening then? Okay, we are going to park this and go back to the dates that this news item says. This child got adopted, and within 2 months, the parents were not in a position to handle the behavior of the child. Now, classically, as a counselor, I would say very broadly. Now, I don't know the prognosis, I don't know the entire story, but if the child who has gone through extreme neglect, I would like to say that again, if the child has gone through extreme neglect in his or her life, this is one of the signs where he or she would go for food. That is self-gratification for a child and for us too. Yeah. So is that bad behavior, or is it a sign? Is it the child in the child's language, he or she is trying to say that I need your attention,
Yes.
So there is always a meaning behind the behavior. As parents, that is what we need to pick up. Not all parents are trauma informed. So possibly this could have come as a challenge or as a shock, because these parents have the experience of parenting a 7-year-old biological child. It's different. That child won't have gone through trauma. Now, all of you who have joined in and all who are going to join in, I have a small exercise for you, just for a minute, for just for a few seconds. You imagine you're this child who at the age of 2 has got abandoned. What are the things that you're going to come across in your life? You're just left in the street. are the fears you're going to carry in your body? What could have you as a 2-year-old witnessed? You would have been crying on the street and just no one to care for, no one to come and touch you and ask you what happened, child. So these fears, these experiences, these what we will typically call adverse childhood experiences, it leaves an impact. This is childhood trauma leaves an impact. Is it permanent? No. What are we here for as adoptive parents? We are the best therapists for them. We are therapists first and then parents. So we all have a huge role, in the life of a child who joins our family through adoption. So
So, ma'am, sorry, I'll just ask you something. Since you brought a very important line here, saying that the parents are the therapist for the child, right? But don't you also, like think and, like maybe also suggest to the parents who are here, right, that the parent should also reach out for counseling because they also need that support. Don't
Of course. So it always helps to have smaller communities of adoptive families together.
Yes.
You make small groups, 5-6 groups. You have a safe space. We all need safe space to open up and talk about our children. Are we complaining about our children? No. We are trying to find a solution. We are trying to help our child. And it's all right to be a little vulnerable and open up with our folks, So that is very important. Our country doesn't have very many adoption and trauma-informed counselors, therapists. Doesn't really matter. We will come to that someday. A lot of trainings are happening everywhere. Yeah?
Yes.
In the meantime,
ma'am,
help
just
yourself
so
to
that,
help.
yeah, exactly. And just so people understand that why this is so important, why are we here talking about it? So some statistics or trends, if you can share of this returning of children.
Let me see if I can just pull out. This was in, this is Kara's, there was a study done by Kara in 2017, from April 2017 till March 2019. And they found that there were, 235 children, all India, who came back, who were on, adult, older children, sorry, not adult, older children adoption, out of which few of them were 5 years and below. Now, these 5 years and below were returned. Basically, most of them had medical issues and hence they came back. The parents could not handle the medical issues. But the older children who came back, 99% were because they could not adjust with the families. They could not adjust with the families and the families could not adjust. Now, so when we say adjust, what is it? What does it mean? Does that mean that our bar of expectation is very high? As parents and as parents who are watching, we all need to ask ourselves, where does this child come from? I just spoke about adverse childhood experiences. What could have been the experience of this child before he or she joined us? And where are the changes? Can we go a little slow in our life? Can we slow down for the sake of the child? If it's a married couple, which parent is going to be there for the child? Even as a single parent, I would say take a break from work. Just be available. To an extent, when the child looks back, the child should be able to see you. People have asked, what am I going to do sitting at home? He's an older child. He has to go to school. Yes, but when he's at home, when he looks back, when he turns, he has to see you because the child has faced rejection. This child has faced rejection to an extent that you and me cannot even imagine,
And it's also that sense of abandonment, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So that there has to be that constant assurance that we are here for you. And that has to be a physical as well as an emotional reminder to the child, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
See,
Thank you so much. This is so important. Yeah.
From the child's through, if you look at life through the eyes of the child, you know, it is who are the people who have actually betrayed him or her? It is we adults who have let him down to an extent, you know. And then we are saying, you have come home, now you better trust us. That is going to take a long time. And who has to work hard, the child or the parents? 100% the parents. Who is the adult? We are the adults. So we need to work hard. You know? We have not gone through, we have not had the experience that this child has had in his life. So we are the ones who need to work hard and prove ourselves trustworthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, ma'am, you just already mentioned, and I just rehash for people who are here, that the reason for adoption dissolution that Kara is saying or stating on their website, mostly either health issues, right, or adjustment issues, right? Is there anything else that you feel is the reason for dissolution?
Adjustment is just a surface. You know, we say adjustment, it's just the surface of the problem. Uh, Children come back saying that they have defiance disorder, they have ADHD, they have a whole soup bowl of alphabets. But to a great extent, where is all this originating from? Everything, the root cause is trauma. The root cause is the childhood experiences. So, like I said, we have to work very, very hard. A child who has gone through childhood trauma needs that many years of handholding from a parent or that adult to somewhere see light at the end of the tunnel. It cannot happen in 6 months. It cannot happen in 1 year, you know. So, yeah, you're saying something?
Yes, I think defining a time is very, because everybody is different, every family is different, every child is different, so we really cannot define a time. Because even from Pragnya, when we talk to parents, when we counsel parents, there's a very common question when it comes to older children adoption, that, oh, how much time will it take for them to settle? We cannot give you the time. And I think, ma'am, thank you for bringing that up. It can be 2 months. We have seen
Absolutely.
children settling in 2 months,
Yeah.
older children, 4 years and above. And we have seen people who are taking way more than that, right? But we just need to keep working on it, I think, is what parents have to do at this
Absolutely.
point, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So moving on, ma'am, I think the so we talked about the reasons, right, which are the technical ones. Now coming to the emotional and psychological impact that both the parent as well as the child is going through. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah. For the parents, it's like you're giving love, and from there, the child is saying, no, you keep off.
Yeah.
That can be heartbreaking. The child is not rejecting. For the child, but for the parent feels that I have been rejected as a parent. See, that for the child has not experienced love. The child has not experienced this togetherness. It is extremely overwhelming. Extremely. You touch the child is going to push you away.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the child doesn't love you. So it is absolutely, go slow. Now and what is it that's making the child behave if the way he is behaving? Is his experience, his childhood experience. So and at times children can talk about it, at times they do not want to talk about it. Till such time they feel that this adult who's in front of me, whom I'm supposed to call mom and dad, are really safe for me. They are not going to leave me.
Yeah.
And that is what takes a long time. And it is all right. I would like to tell the parents, just be there. It is like, gardens and children, they need patience and love. And they need one more thing. That is someone who can stand by them and never give up. Never give up. So I would like to urge and I would like to tell parents who are waiting for older children, nothing is impossible. You just need to have that patience and love that wins over everything. Try to see the world through the lens of the child, you know, and the child's behavior is going to tell you what he or she has gone through. So
Yeah.
find the meaning behind the behavior is what I would tell the parents over and over.
Mm. And ma'am, this takes us to a very important question, and this we honestly we face this every time a prospective parent talks to us. Is the social stigma around adopting older children, right? Do you think that this rise in case of adoption dissolution is attaching more negative stigma to people opting for older children? Because then what happens is they're like, oh no, we'll go and adopt the baby because then it's easier to adjust with the baby. That's
Mm,
what, like, we are. If only I had a dime every time I heard this, I think I'd be very rich by now.
yeah,
Because everybody has this. We really need to break the stigma, and ma'am, I would love to hear from you on
yeah.
this.
So it's not about the society. It is about you, the person who's going to, takes a call to expand his or her family through adoption, who opens up his heart and home for an older child, knowing very well that there could be initial issues. It cannot be a honeymoon period all the time. I mean, it is not only with, in adoption, even otherwise, there are
With
issues which
biological
come up. But here,
children, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
here it could be a little more, depending on the kind of childhood the child has had. Like I would say, it's not impossible. It is difficult, but it's not impossible. So I don't think the children who are coming back is actually a minuscule.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that gets propagated. There have been such beautiful stories of older children adoption.
Yes,
In fact,
yes.
in Karnataka, there was this, which I sort of somewhere facilitated, was a 15-and-a-half-year-old who went into adoption. She's doing amazingly well. She's finished her college, and so nothing is impossible. It is like, be convinced that you're the parent, you're the chosen one, and you're going to
Mm.
work hard, not go by what are others going to tell. It's
Yeah,
always like, what will the others
yeah,
say? Let them say whatever. If you're convinced you're going to parent this child, just go ahead, you know?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And ma'am, I think what you said brought some ideas that at least through Pragna or other groups that we have, we should bring the stories forward, the success stories of older children adoption. Maybe,
Yeah,
because that's
absolutely.
gonna also like create that hope and the light in people that no, everything is not bleak. And when we see these stories, and I would really blame, I'm sorry, but to some extent the media, the kind of language they use, bad behavior,
Yeah,
eating from the dust. I mean,
yeah,
you have to be a little sensitive when you are reporting about these kind of things. So,
absolutely.
like, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
the presentation is also in such a manner that even if I am not biased, I will become biased after reading that. So I think there is
absolutely.
a responsibility that everybody shares in
Yeah.
the society, which we need
Oh,
to
yes.
also understand, right?
Yeah. All
Uh,
of us, actually,
exactly.
to be sensitive, to look at, again, I would say, to look at things from the child's perspective and not be so adult centric.
Yeah.
Be child centric, and everything is going to come in front of you. Yeah.
Right. I have one last question for you. After that, we'll start taking audience questions
Sure.
also. So if you have any question, please start putting. So ma'am, just one thing. I would like you to like state for everybody that in order to stop dissolution from happening, right? How important is the role of counseling for the parents as well as older adoptees?
For both the children and the parents, it is definitely like the way we are talking now. It just opens so many arenas, so many areas which probably would not have crossed the mind of a young parent. So it helps. It definitely helps to talk to a counselor who is again trauma informed and adoption informed. That is very important because there are certain things which are very, very adoption specific, So it helps. Make a database like your group, have all the mental health professionals. So you have at least a list of 10 people who can be approached by parents. That really helps. And I would say the same thing to the parents. You come across someone who has made that difference in your life, a therapist, a counselor, pass it around. It's all right. I mean, nobody is going to bother anybody. This is something we need to know. We need to have people because we have just a handful of people, which also is fine, Yeah.
So, ma'am, we'll just take a couple of questions from the audience.
Okay.
Shana is asking, ma'am, we have heard that children also go through abuse in the childcare centers. Is that true?
You're asking me a true or false question? I'm going to say yes, true. But we cannot make a sweeping statement that all children in the institutions are abused. Now, when we say abuse, are you very particularly talking about sexual abuse, or it is physical abuse or
Physical
emotional
abuse.
abuse?
Yeah. Physical and
Exactly.
emotional also. Yes.
Absolutely. If the child is left uncared in a corner of an institution, it amounts to severe neglect, and that is the biggest abuse more than anything. It takes a long time for a child to get out of, an abuse like neglect. Yeah.
Also, Hakim is asking the dissolution, that is, right? Does it come from a place where the parents think that they are not blood related? So it's an option, like, just because I have an option to return the child, which is not the case when I'll have a bio child, right? Do you think that's also one of the reason that this is happening?
I won't, it is yes and a no, but most of the time what happens is, was it Bhagyam you said?
Yes.
Bhagyam's question?
Yes.
Okay. So Bhagyam, what happens is when there's so much happening in the child's life, and the language that this child has is just rage, violence, shouting, pushing, and no amount of help seems to be reaching the child. The parents are at crossroads. They have no idea what to do. For them at that moment, they feel, let the child be safe. I'm not able to handle. Maybe I'm not meant to be the parent for this child. It's better the child goes back to the institution and gets adopted again. Now, this thought process nobody talks about. There is a lot of pain the parents go through also, but many a times we don't see that. We just, at the surface level, we say the parents took the children and returned them.
Yeah,
Some
there's a
children
lot
are,
that is going on
yeah,
behind.
yeah.
Next question. What are the actions that Kara is taking to combat this kind of situations?
Mm, According to Adoption Regulations 22, if for they have their own counselors and they do go through each and every file. That's what I would like to believe. And if it is for some reason, if it is the parents who have not fulfilled, then they are debarred from adopting again. And this is something which is very new. This is in the best interest of the child and very, very child centric. And I support that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Adoption Rocks here has a question. I think this will be the last question that we'll take. Why is the adoption process for domestic adoption in India not as vigorous as it is when doing an inter-country adoption with India? It's a little different, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have an answer as to why it is not, because I'm not the authority. I wish it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So few of us are actually working towards it, and you will see the change very soon.
Yeah.
For good.
Great, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. I think this has been
so much.
very insightful conversation, and I'm really hoping that whoever was here, but also people who will listen to the recorded conversation will really get some insight and awareness, most importantly, of what is happening and why it is happening. And my only request to everybody, adoptive parents, prospective adoptive parents, is let's come together, seek out for help, and let's stop this from happening, right? Apart from exceptional cases, there will be exceptional cases. Of course, that's everywhere. But I think let's stop. And Pragna as a group is definitely here to help with counseling, to help with talking to you. At least, that's the least that we can do. So just reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Radha ma'am.
Thank you for
Always
having
a
me, and
pleasure.
wish you all the
Okay.
best, and the viewers wish you all the best. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good night, everyone.